How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be going over another one of my days of training. This is going to be week number 4 of my second mass hypertrophy mesocycle. If you don't know what that means, to break it down for you, massing is also referred to as bulking, just trying to accumulate more muscle tissue, also often referred to as a off season for a bodybuilder. Hypertrophy is the growth of new muscle tissue. Mesocycle is a block of training usually consisting of multiple weeks or microcycles of subsequent training in a periodized fashion. All the training that you're going to see here is programmed by Jared Feather at Renaissance Periodization. And also, I can't get into the video without thanking Lance at Muscle Factory Gym. I can't say enough good things about this gym. Lance welcomed me with open arms when I first moved here, and the gym has an amazing community. Lance is always buying new equipment. If you're ever in Arizona, come check out Muscle Factory in Tempe. This is all going to be one RAR, but I will talk about some discrepancies I had with that. One RAR being 1 repetition in reserve. So let's get into the first exercise here. We have the hammer strength preacher curl machine. I used to not like this machine, but I was doing it incorrectly for the longest time, just kind of putting too much weight on and moving it too quickly. You'll see here that I'm coming all the way down to full extension, coming up and squeezing for a moment at the top. One thing I will say is that on this exercise, I noticed this week that I may have been a little off of my RIR estimations later on in the set. That's okay. I just kind of took note of it and I didn't make any too many drastic changes like adding too much weight. I noticed actually towards the end of the set that it was just a little bit too easy, and I didn't really notice until I was in the end, so I didn't get hung up on it. I have in the past gotten really frustrated if I misestimate RAR, but the thing with training in this fashion is that next week we just upped the intensity and weight and I was able to auto-correct. So I didn't stress about that too much, but you will notice that, maybe it doesn't look as challenging. One thing I will say is that from the outside looking in, when you're watching someone do technical failure meaning that we're not using accessory muscles to get the weight up, you're staying in a strict range of motion and you're keeping the same cadence, the same tempo up and down, the same amount of seconds up and down, the same squeeze. It doesn't often always look super intense, especially on something like a bicep curl. And that's the thing is, like, from the outside looking in, people may assume that you're not actually training hard. I'm not personally worried about what people think of me in the gym. I've made amazing progression over the last 6 months of training, but it's just something to take note of, especially if someone criticizes you or something like that. If you are training with RAR, just remember that it's not always gonna look sexy in the most crazy training. You're not gonna be like, if you've ever seen Branch Warren in some of his old training videos, or Ronnie Coleman in The Unbelievable, it's not gonna look like that a lot of the time. And that's okay. We've learned over time that maybe that kind of training isn't as effective. And you kind of have to stand alone when you're training in this manner. That's okay. Like I said, the results speak for themselves. And if you look at any of my progress photos when I've been using an RIR system, obviously that's only part of the picture, but it has been amazing for me. Anyway, sorry, that's a tangent, kind of going off track there. Any other tips as far as the bicep curl? I do try to supinate a little bit. Supinating means pulling your pinkies toward your thumbs like this. And I'm not actually doing the movement physically, but mentally I'm kind of thinking about doing that, kind of lifting the elbows a little bit. It's the same thing I do on a bicep curl. So I'm just consciously thinking of that, kind of squeezing the elbows together, and it creates more tension in the biceps. Something I'm kind of keeping in mind there. So both on the bicep preacher curl and this machine lateral raise, we actually did a volume increase. So we matched the reps that we did last week, but we added 1 set and then we estimated RAR. So the RAR target Jared has set for me this week is 1 RAR. So that means that last week I did 4 sets, this week I need to do 5. So on that 5th set, since I don't have a rep target established already, I'm going to just use my best estimation of RAR. And generally speaking, when you're watching this and you're looking in your logbook, say I did 12, 10, and 8 reps, it's likely that next set is going to be 6 reps. So I'll tell myself before I do my set, okay, I did 8 last set. So I'm looking for that 7, 6, and I'm kind of going to watch out for the RAR signals that I like to refer to them as, and they may have a more technical term that I'm not aware of. As far as that goes, what's going on in my head, 3 RAR is going to be when the weight starts to slow down. 2 RAR is going to be a noticeable amount of accumulation of metabolites, so maybe some burning sensation. The weight's going to slow down and become increasingly more challenging to the point where it does require some focus to complete the rep with good form and the same cadence. And then 1 RAR is pretty much you could barely complete another rep with good form if you tried really hard. So I'm kind of mentally going through this checklist, especially before I do each set. And that's just how I make sure that I'm doing my best to make that estimation as the weeks go on. and as we're increasing volume.
All right, so here I'm holding the fat grips. It just really helps me make this exercise feel like a normal lateral raise. Other than that, I'm just trying to do a brief hold with a pause at the top and control the weight on the way down, not just let it slam down. So just controlling the concentric and eccentric through the full range of motion, kind of not letting that, not letting yourself bounce out of the top and actually holding it for a brief moment, and not sitting at the bottom too much and resting. Those are just things I'm trying to consciously be aware of when I'm performing this exercise. All right, so on these, I'm trying to pull basically this part of the rope, the metal part, to the top of my head. And I'm just thinking of it as a normal rowing movement. So I'm trying to get my elbows back as far as I possibly can. When I can no longer do that, that's pretty much the end of the set. And you'll see that my cadence changes a little bit, and the actual speed in which I do the rep changes when I get to that 1 RER is what the goal is on these. Here we're doing a rep progression. So last week I did 18, so this week I'm trying to do 19. And that's putting me from a 2 RER to 1 repetitions in reserve. Yeah, and that's pretty much, it's either progressing, like I've stated in other videos, we're either progressing reps, volume, or weight. And my coach just kind of alters all of those. So not every week, it's not 5 pounds in each lift, it's a combination of sets, volume, and weight across different exercises. Okay, so on the rows, I was leaning in forward when the weight was lowering, and then I was actually leaning back just a slight bit to get a better contraction in my lats as far as that exercise goes. And then as far as when I stop the set, it's when I can't get my elbows back as far as I feel I need to get full contraction. So I'm trying to work through the same range of motion. Once I can't hit that range of motion, then the set stops.
With the lat pull downs, I've really enjoyed using the mag grips lately. Before, when I was using too much weight, I would find that my forearms would give out a lot. I can only imagine that if I increase the load I use on vertical pulling movements, using this grip might not be ideal because my forearms would get tired faster. But lately, I've found this grip to be really effective. It's an ergonomic grip and it's designed really well, and I just feel the contraction really good in my lats. As far as lat pull downs, I'm coming all the way up, stretching my lats to the top, and then I'm trying to actually touch the midline or top of my chest above nipple level when I come down and squeeze for a brief second. And on this week, we did a rep progression, so we just added 1 rep to each set. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you found this useful, please like, subscribe, comment. If you have any questions on how the programming works or any specifics of my training, you can also leave that in the comments as well. I have another one of these training videos that'll be coming out in the next couple weeks, and then I'll also be doing a day in the life soon, so stay tuned for that. I appreciate the support. I'll talk to you soon.